Who we say we are, we will spend the rest of our lives trying to prove, consciously and unconsciously.
Who we say we are, we will spend the rest of our lives trying to prove consciously or unconsciously.
Right. And so that was for me, right? Going back to, surf instructor making $36,000 a year. I had that identity. I had the identity of the broken one, of the dumb kid that was in special education. I had the identity of the person who had dyslexia and was less than everybody else. When I got into college, I was like, yo, I'm an imposter. They're going to find out. Right. And I took that same consciousness, that same identity into the next work and the next work and the work. And I brought myself everywhere I went until I started chipping away at the identity and asking myself, but where did I get this? Says who? Says who? Right. I'm gonna break something down. So in my workshops, I have peak performance workshops that my wife and I do that helps people recalibrate their nervous systems. And one of the things we teach on day one in the first couple hours is that there are 4 aspects of what it means to be human. So the first aspect is we are biological beings, right? We're physical beings. We have organs and systems and things occurring, right? The second aspect of what it means to be human is we are linguistic beings, which means we build worlds with our language. Without the distinction of door and doorknob, I couldn't get out of the room, right? All of this is in language, right? So the more language we have and the more distinctions, the easier it is for us to navigate life. The third aspect, and this is the one I want to spend the most time on, is we are social and historical beings born into beliefs and interpretations. And then the fourth, I'm going to go back to the third. The fourth is we are quantum beings, right? Which is a whole nother can of worms. Now I'm going to go back to number 3 because that's the one.
Quantum, real quick. I just want to add a caveat to quantum being energetic beings. Like, would that be kind of another way to say that?
Yes. So number 3, social and historical beings born into beliefs and interpretations. Okay. So I grew up in LA, born in Compton, raised in LA. One of the social and historical programmings, one of the beliefs that I was born into was Black people don't swim. So I grew up right next to the ocean and never got in, right? Was that mine or did I inherit that? I inherited it. So the moment I have awareness about what I inherited, I now have a choice in whether I want to keep it or not. So what did I do? In what was it? It was the summer of 2003. I walked past my neighbor's garage. I saw a surfboard. I said, "Can I use that?" I said, "Of course." Taught myself how to surf in Manhattan Beach. Fast forward, 7, 8 years later, I have a surf school and I'm teaching people how to surf through spirituality. Now, again, that's just one. We've been programmed and conditioned, right? I grew up probably like you did, hearing big boys don't cry, don't be a little pussy, don't be a little faggot, and all the other language. That's all conditioning, all programming. And so when certain things would occur, that programming from 0 to 7 would pop up and say, no, you don't do that. That's not inside of your identity, right? That's not how we roll. And now you add on, Jesus and Santa Claus and all these other things that are supposed to be perfect and white. I now have this whole other thing happening where I'm like, oh, I'm not like them. The Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, GI Joes, all the dope things that I love as a kid don't look like me. So there's just all this extra programming of like, you're not that person. And so our job, everybody's job, is to bring awareness to the programming that you had. My money blueprint was not mine. It was my dad's and his dad's and his dad's. How I viewed relationship was not mine. It was my mom's, her mom's, and her mom's. And so because it's the last thing I'll say, because my mom was so wounded by the masculine, she tried to produce and create and beat out the wild man inside of me because she didn't want her little boy to be like the parts of the masculine that hurt her. But you can't beat your biology. And so what happened? I created a mask. Here's the face I'll show you at home. Here's the good little Christian boy. And here's the killer. The killer is when you get outside. The good little Christian boy, as soon as I walk in the house. Whenever adults are around, yes, mommy. Yes, please. Thank you. So now I'm battling with that and religion and all the other stuff on top of it. And it's a recipe for disaster. Right? So This is why I love what you do and I love what I do, because we help people take their lives back and actually choose what the fuck they really want.
Is there programming that can be done in those foundational years 0 to 7 that can serve us in a positive way? And if so, what's the distinction? What's the separation between the two? You're giving a lot of clear examples, right? I think every single person listening to this will resonate with some of that, right? I can remember, I love my dad, amazing relationship with him today. I live a mile away. I get to see him regularly, right? But one thing I can remember hearing all the time growing up was shut up, don't talk, be quiet, right? I became very introverted, right? I became very built within. Like I had to shatter that, right? And now it's not a surprise or it is a surprise to many that I speak for a living, because I was the kid that never spoke. Now I make my entire life around the words that I get to speak on a daily basis. But that took some unpacking and healing for me. But that was a program, right? You're not supposed to talk. You're like, we don't want to hear what you have to say. I had to shatter that. But I believe that there was also some programming maybe from there that has carried me through success. So what's the distinction, right? How do we know if programming is serving us or holding us back?
Yeah, it's one question always is it effective? Is it useful? Right? Am I doing it or is it doing me? That's one of the bigger pieces. So in our work, people come into these workshops and we put them in high pressure situations. And then we say, okay, you see what you did there? You see how you got triggered? Did you do that? Or did it do you? Is that an automatic pilot kind of situation? Or did you purposely, right? Did you purposely go into fight and clinch up? Was that a conscious thought to go into flight or go into fawn and pretend like everything's okay? Because it's not that those things won't happen. Everybody has a nervous system. Everybody experiences some level of trauma at some point in their lives. And those nervous systems and that trauma play together and creates toxic shame, which most people live from. And a part of why the porn industry, the sex trafficking industry, and all the other stuff are fueled, right? Our work is, again, to take it back, right? I talk about this often. You can't disown that which you have never owned. And so you owning that, this shy guy thing, this quiet, stoic guy thing, which has gotten me women and X, Y, and Z and kept me safe in times where I could have got my ass kicked. That thing is not who I am. It's who I became. That is a very different thing. And then the question is, okay, so if this is who I became, do I want to keep it? And if I want to keep it, do I want to keep it for everything? Do I want to have one size fits all? Or do I want to have range as a man? Do I want to be the type of dude that can shed tears and hold his wife and his children and go to battle? Bro, I got flowers everywhere and guns in here, right? You're right. I got the whole situation in this motherfucker. I literally, people see me and they're like, oh yeah, he's Captain Nice Guy. I fight every day, bro. Literally. I do MMA and all kinds of stuff. It's range, right? That's the game.